Hey guys, Adam here. So I want to talk a little bit about the statement, I need to empty the cup, or I need to empty my mind. In other words, I need to stop overthinking. If you consider that you deploy the strategy of trying not to overthink or to stop in thinking or to stop thoughts, innocently that strategy creates more of what you're trying to avoid. For example, if you imagine you have a cup that's half full with water and you're adding thoughts into it so the water level rises. Then you say, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be overthinking. I wanted to stop. My mind is driving me crazy. Well, those statements are extra thoughts, so it accelerates the water rising. And to some, when the water begins to overflow, that then maybe is anxiety or a panic attack if it's really gushing and overflowing. Imagine shaking a bottle of pop and then the cap, shaking it a little bit and then opening the cap. I'd like you to imagine thoughts as static energy. So if you imagine a spark, and all of that is happening around us, and just say 10 sparks initially. Now you have to identify. You try to catch every one of those sparks and monitoring it, engaging it, making sure that that making sure that the mind does what you want the mind to do. That's also another recipe for disaster. So imagine 100 sparks and trying to engage with each of them all at one time. It's impossible. It's impossible. That what creates then that static nervous twitch. When I speak with people with anxiety, you can feel that. It's like an overt. It's like a tick, constant stream of tick 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 sparks. And why do we take those sparks so personal? It's because we personally identify. We believe that we're the person in the thoughts. If you break down the word identity, you have ID, entity. So you identify, you ID the entity in the thought. You believe you to be the body. The body is one thing. Then you have the personality. That's another. You wasn't born that. So when we try to empty the cup, it's it's a process that we have to become aware of. It's a dynamic that we have to see for ourselves for the cup to truly start to empty. And then oneself can start to shine through, more awareness can shine through. So, how to do that is, I guess, to have the recognition that I am not that. We've been married to identity for such a long time. First of all, we engaged with it, and then all of a sudden, we're married to it. We're married for a very, very, very long time. I mean, some people go through this existence and this lifetime in this marriage without ever questioning it. I'm not saying to anybody who's in a marriage to question it. This is a pure metaphor. What about the marriage that we have to identity, the bond, the coupling? That's why all of these thoughts are inviting for us. They feel appealing because it's about us. So if I was to ask you if it was about someone else, would it matter? Does somebody else's suffering have a bearing on you? Well, you can empathize with someone, but that suffering is not yours, and when you leave the conversation and you probably are able to release it, if it was quite an intense conversation, you can let it go because it's not your person, it's not you, it doesn't involve your identity. So with regard to the cup, it's the one filling the cup. This is the baggage. My mum and I were speaking the other day, we had a laugh, just talking about the details about baggage and this baggage, that baggage, this baggage, that. But the biggest baggage is the actual identity itself, the belief in the person, or the belief in I am the person, I am the perishable. And again, I ask you, were you born that? Only this space is what starts to empty the cup. After a while, the cup even itself becomes irrelevant. That's why you can always have this state of peace whilst emotion and thought is going on. Don't operate a state of denial, because that in itself adds to the cup. Embrace it, feel it, let it be here. It can do its thing whilst you can do yours. It doesn't have to dictate and demand attention all the time. Once this dynamic is seen, the emptying occurs naturally. It doesn't take no effort. Actually quite effortless. Of course, a person can become triggered and the cup can fill relatively quickly again. But just as quickly as it fills, it can empty just as quickly now. Contemplate this. Are you deploying strategies where you're trying to empty the cup? Are you trying to stop overthinking? Are you trying to quiet the mind? It's like asking a fish not to swim or a bird not to fly. Try it. Namaste.